Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, we saw that the vaccine mandate of Joe Biden and his uh, administration shot down by the Supreme Court, slap in the face, unconstitutional, of course, as we know, overreaching, of course, as we know, a total travesty. Uh, they continue with beating the drum of Omicron. They continue with, which is nothing more than at this point a very contagious flu. Fortunately, thankfully, um, people are not dying from it. Uh, Interesting that many people that are getting it are vaccinated people, so it's not limited to the unvaccinated. More interesting is that people who have the natural immunity from having had COVID are not getting it. So those are all interesting points. The vaccines, you keep hearing different reports how you're going to need 2 boosters, 3 boosters, 4 boosters. This one works, the other one doesn't. There's going to be a pill, there's going to be this. As we've said before in another program, what we need to do is have the sales people of the year awards for the big pharma: Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Schiff, Adam Schiff, um, all these people, AOC, Elizabeth Warren. All these people should really be in consideration for the top producers for big pharma. Unfortunately, the sales are funded through tax dollars. And not only are we funding sales for United States citizens, but we're also funding sales of these vaccines that really attempt to attack an ever morphing virus, and there's never going to be uh, a, an end game to the last virus, because this virus will continue to morph, as historically all these viruses morph, and the more they morph, the more they continue to be contagious, but they don't pose a threat to mankind or humanity or death like when it originally comes out. So kudos to Biden and Harris. I'm sure that they've made Big Pharma a ton of money, and Big Pharma is really happy, and the money is filtering. The funding that went to, quote unquote, those who were hardest hit by the pandemic, that money that they sent out to those people is funneling back to where it was intended, which is the big corporations, the big pharmaceuticals, the big banks, big oil. They're all getting that money. They're very happy. They're rejoicing, and Biden and Harris are eventually going to ring the cash register. And most people in this administration who have any pull and are directing traffic as to where this mass handout of U.S. taxpayer dollars is going, they will be rewarded um, at the end of the day for their efforts. Just like those entities are being rewarded right now by the politicians for their campaign contributions in getting these people elected. So I think we see here very clearly what's going on. We've mentioned it before, uh, proof in the pudding type of scenario. The Tesla situation, the government doesn't even mention them because they're not union, because they're not big donors to the political parties. So they have a summit on EVs in D.C. Joe Biden, he credits Mary Barra of GM. He credits Ford. He credits Volkswagen. He invites everybody. The union, by the way, the unions are invited immediately, but Tesla's not invited. So the best of breed in the industry is not invited, and then all these other people who basically are playing catch up. They're trying to catch now building electric vehicles. Musk is beyond building electric vehicles. Not that he's not, but he continues. But his target is way beyond that. It's electric flying vehicles. It is autonomous vehicle fleets. It is autonomous vehicles delivery fleets. Musk is just way, way, way ahead of these guys. And while Mary Barra is worrying about how to get an EV Volt on the street, this guy's thinking 20 years from now. These people are thinking 20 years ago, where they should have been thinking 20 years ago. So when people tell me, hey, there's competition for Tesla, there's competition for Musk, GM, Ford, Volkswagen, BS. BS, Volvo, BS. Nobody. Musk is 10 years ahead of all of them. And they'll never catch up because they're backward thinking, they're reactionary. And now's when they're jumping on the EV bandwagon. And by the way, the only reason they jump on it is they told Biden, hey, we don't want to take this risk without you funding us, without you giving us a whole bunch of tax incentives, building a whole bunch of stations. Musk went out and did it solo, did it out of his pocket, risking going broke. That's what he's done, okay? And yeah, he's gotten government subsidies, and yes, he's gotten grants, and yes, but he has not hinged creating the industry on someone paying for it, okay? So just like he's doing with space, he's gonna be the leader in space. Bezos is a showman. Bezos is a follow the leader. Musk is the leader. Bezos is trying to keep up with him. There's no shot. It's a world of difference between the two. So that's where we're at with that. Opinion-wise, that's what I'm telling you. My opinion is, you form your own. You tell me what yours is. I want to go to a topic that we've discussed briefly before, but I've got more ammunition on it. I've been telling you about when I go to restaurants, the socioeconomic level of the people that I see in these restaurants. And I'm not being snobbish, I'm just being factual. These were family restaurants where you could go take a family on a Sunday afternoon, on a Saturday evening, whatever it may be, and you could sit down at a table and you could expect comportment from fellow diners around you of etiquette and low key and no profanity. You go now to these restaurants that were one time deemed middle class, upper middle class, whatever you want to label them. I'm not talking about the luxury Michelin 5 stars. I'm talking about really good, fine food restaurants with chefs cooking. You go to them now, and what you sit next to many times, I've had to tell people to please cut the profanity. It's deplorable. And this is funded by the money. These are people that are not used to having this kind of money, all of a sudden find themselves with this kind of money, and they want to frequent places such as this. They want to buy products, retail products such as this. I was today Christmas shopping, and I went into a very nice retailer that sells purses and leather goods at the Dayland Mall, and spoke to an employee who's been there for 14 years, and she was telling me how the clientele has changed tremendously, that the sophistication level, the etiquette, the manner of communication, the language in which business is conducted, that everything has changed so drastically that she's in shock. And she says that she runs across it quite a bit, and that this is all part of what I see happening. However, here is the danger point that I've brought up, and it is happening as we speak. The savings rate, the savings accounts in this country have finally gotten to the point that they were post-pandemic. Means that people are using up their capital, their cash that allowed them to live beyond their means. And like I said, many of these people are people that don't know how to make money, have never had money, and don't know how to invest, retain, and preserve capital. So what they've done is they burned through it, given it back to the big corporations, bought the $300 sneakers, bought the $100,000 Range Rover on a lease, paying $1,000 a month and eating at McDonald's every night. That's who now will come to the table and realize, hey, you know what? Yeah, I was clamoring and insisting, and I'm leaving my job because I want a $20 an hour job, even though I have no skills or qualifications. But everyone should make 20. Everybody should be entitled to make $15, $20 an hour, regardless of whether you have any skills or not, because I deserve it. That mentality will come to roost, and it is coming to roost as we speak. As the savings accounts dwindle, as the free money from the government dwindles, as people are faced with the reality of I've got to earn a living again, the pendulum, the tide will turn. And it is turning as we speak now. By June of 2022, the employment situation, where right now the employee holds all the leverage, will have changed. Technology is adding to this. People, menial jobs, the lowest end jobs, will not be undertaken by human beings. Where possible, robotics, artificial intelligence will will do those jobs. The job that was middle management, some skill set involved, those jobs will still be present, will still be in the workforce. They'll be augmented by technology. They will be enhanced by technology, and there will be the need for fewer humans to do those jobs because of the technological assistance that they will receive. People, the employers will have their choice of employees because it will dwindle down, and the people who are still 60, 90 days worth of savings in the bank, they're not thinking about 60, 90 days out. When 60 or 90 days out and they look at their account and it says zero or near zero, that's when they'll go to the street and say, now I'm going to get a job, because that's the mentality. But guess what? It's not going to be that easy. The day of reckoning is coming. Retail sales in December will prove to be a huge disappointment. We've already mentioned that Nordstrom's and Gap reported in November down from 2019 post-pandemic, their sales. We've already discussed on on a prior program that sales down at those two entities, Nordstrom's and Gap, inventories plus 10%. Sales down 1.2, inventories up 10%. The fallacy of the supply chain being the factor that is driving these quote-unquote inflationary numbers will be taken off the table. Technology defeats inflation, always. We are in the warm-up stages of the game, of the revolution, of the technological revolution that will dwarf the industrial revolution. Nothing will be the same. In medicine, in fintech, in anything that you want, in fuel sources, fuel cells, electric vehicles, nothing will ever be the same. We are fast-tracking all of this. And the left's desperate effort, last gasp effort, to saddle this country with all types of social entitlements that cannot be paid for, that is unaffordable, and will only burden the taxpayer to a point of, as much as possible, eliminating as much of the middle class as possible by the 2024 presidential election. And that is the goal here, that by 2024, there are enough people who feel that they are indebted, that they need the government for them to survive. And don't underestimate this false sense of security that the government has given these people by sending them money. Once they cut them off, and these people realize that there's not all these jobs out there like they think they're going to get, and they do really need the government to subsidize them, then the day of reckoning will occur. And that's what the left and the Democrats are hoping for, that there will be enough people on those doles, on those public doles, that will say, you know what, we have to vote Democrat, because if not, we can't live here. Those are the people that they want voting. They want to replace the African American vote, because they know the African American has become wise to the lies of the left, that the Democrats are there to help them. The Democrats have not helped them for 100+ years. The Dixiecrats have not helped them for 100+ years. The Jim Crow Democrats have not helped them for 100+ years. The founders of the KKK Democrats have not helped them for 100+ years. So they're losing that African American vote, the Democrats. They know that. They absolutely know that. You can point to the governorship in Virginia, a state that Joe Biden won by, I think, 12 or 16%, was won by a Republican governor. And the swing in the African American vote was +12 to the Republican side. They know they're losing that. So what do they want to do? They want to ease up the voting requirements so that anyone that is recently arrived, no matter who they are, can vote, so that they can take felons who did not have voting rights and get them to vote. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to replace that demographic. As the African American population mainstreams itself and progresses itself, which they have done, based on fundamental family, hard work, education, as that is allowed to occur, and most of it, a lot of it happened after Obama, because Obama stuck a dagger in the African American population of this country, as far as income was concerned, as far as jobs, as far as wealth, as far as home ownership, employment. All of those were at record lows under Barack Obama, an African American president, who, when they tell me America is racist, I say, what other nation, okay, civilized nation, has elected a minority, an African American, in a predominantly white demographic, has elected an African American, a black man, president, not once, twice. Twice. When the black population makes up 13% of the vote. So we know who elected him. Okay? The white populace elected Barack Obama twice. So don't tell me that America's racist. Quite the contrary. America's a leader, a world leader in equality. America's a world leader, the world leader, in as far as opportunity, equality, fairness. There's no arguing this. The only people who do not understand this are the people who are blinded by the handout that the left gives them. If you ask anyone who's recently arrived from Cuba, from Venezuela, from any of these countries that are on fire with socialism, ask them what they think of this. And they will tell you, I talk to them every day. Recent Cuban arrivals, every day. People have been here 4, 5, 6, 3 years. I talk to them every day in all the trades. And they say it's crazy, that they don't understand what the American people think when they vote in an AOC, when they vote in a Bernie Sanders, when they vote in an Elizabeth Warren. You know what they tell me? This is a quote that I've heard at least, and I'm not exaggerating, 100 times in the last year from people recently arrived. They said they should take those people and have them go live in Cuba or go live in Venezuela, not as an American, but as a Cuban, as a Venezuelan. They should have them go there and live there for 3 months. And then we'll see when they come back if they're thinking the same way that they're thinking now. It is all lies. It is all manipulated. It is all, just like the markets, the stock market, everything. The whales of Wall Street missed the boat on disruptive technology. They never expected it to come this fast. So what they did was the pandemic caught them by surprise. All of a sudden, that fast track, the Zooms of the world, the Teledocs of the world, the quote-unquote stay-at-home stocks, the Pelotons, they were all fast-tracked to prominence. And people who were more speculative in nature, who took more chances, who were deemed the neophytes, those that didn't know enough to invest in the right big cap, multi-cap, blue collar, blue chip stocks. Those were the fools. Those were the people who thought they knew what they were doing. Well, all of a sudden, this pandemic fast-tracked technology, and they said, holy cow, we missed the boat. We have to shut this down. We have to turn this down. So what have they done? They put Yellen and Powell on the TV every week. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. They got a guy like Steve Leisman on CNBC, the economist. The sky is falling. That's chicken. I call him Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Andrew Ross Sorkin in the morning on Squawk Box. America's racist. America's not. There's no equality. The blacks have no chance. That's what they put out there to flood the markets and create panic. Constantly quoting the VIX index, which is the consumer sentiment index. Constantly quoting it, pushing it, having Yellen speak, having Powell speak, keeping the investors on pins and needles. What markets don't like is uncertainty. They create as much uncertainty as possible. What is happening with this uncertainty? Well, these tech stocks have dropped 50% in many cases. Guess who's buying them? The whales who thought they had a lot of time. The Wall Street icons that thought they had a lot of time and that this caught them by surprise. They have forced this market down and they're buying now because they know that's the future. So they're hoping everyone panics. They're hoping everyone sells. I know a lot of friends of mine that, I've always preached to them how high I am on the ARK ETFs. And you know what? We've taken a beating from February on. I'm firm. I'm a holder. Diamond hands. I'm a holder. I've added to my positions. I believe the future is technology, disruptive technology. But they are poisoning the well, the people who missed the boat. Just like the people who missed the boat on the cryptos. They are driving Bitcoin to the ground. They're driving Ethereum to the ground. They're trying to throw smoke screens out there with some of these fake coins to show how vulnerable they are and how weak and how senseless they are. They may throw out those, for every Doge coin, there's an Ethereum, there's a Bitcoin, there's a, to some extent, Solana, although I'm Ethereum Bitcoin guy at this point. That's the future. That's the blockchain. That's where all transactions will be conducted through that technology. And the whales of Wall Street who missed this boat, missed this rise by discarding and saying Bitcoin was a farce, like Warren Buffett said that it was voodoo, that he would never touch it. Well, guess what? He was wrong. And he is wrong. And now what are they trying to do? They've driven it down from 70,000 into the 40s. They would love to get it into the 30s. And they keep buying, and they keep buying, and they keep buying. And they're forcing 70% of the people who are selling right now were recent buyers of Bitcoin in over the $47,000 mark. Those people are selling. The people who have been in this long term, in Bitcoin long term, they're buying. They're 75% are adding to their positions. What does this tell you? You're swimming upstream if you don't watch this. The market's the same. If you invest in big oil, if you invest in financial institutions like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, if you invest in those things, you are missing the boat of Square, of PayPal. Okay, you are missing the boat of Teladoc, of Zoom, of Roku, of Twilio, of Okta. You are missing the boat of Palantir. That's the future. That's where we come out the other end with exponential growth of our money. This market is driven to make the whales, the people with billions and billions, and if not approaching trillions of dollars, make them as much money as possible. And they've realized that the best way to gain the most capital possible is to tap into the taxpayer. And they have the Democrats for that. Because there's no one that is hurting the working American taxpayer more than the Democrat agenda that you see in Washington, D.C. today. They may tell you they're lowering your taxes. Go check out how much more you're paying in gas, heating costs, heating fuels. See how much you're paying more for meat, chicken, eggs, fish, vegetables, fruits. See how much more you're paying for paper products. See how much more you're paying for anything you want to do, any home improvement projects. See how much more. That's their hidden tax. They tell you, we're not going to raise your taxes. Oh, no, we're not raising your taxes. Don't worry. We're your friends. But then they nail you on this other end with these numbers. These numbers is gouging. If this was a result, the price increases that you've seen were after a hurricane or a national disaster, you would be seeing people getting arrested for gouging. There's some need. There are some legitimate needs for price increases. But when you're looking at 200-300% increases in commodity prices, in products, when you're looking at 20-30% increases, annual increases in food, those are gouged. Those are done because they know, they've been told, hey, the guy on the street has a lot of money in his savings account. He's not going to jump because you charge him an extra dollar here or there. Take advantage. Fill your coffers. Because the time of reckoning is coming. This is where you heard it. The time of reckoning is coming, and 2022 is the year of reckoning. And make no mistake about it. When the people run out of money, the reckoning will occur. And we're on the precipice of that. We're about to see that. Okay, said enough. Thank you, and keep up the faith. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.